Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm in Sons of the Forest, the long-awaited sequel to the horror survival game The Forest, which I've covered extensively on my channel. Now, because the game has only recently been released, what better way to kick off my coverage than with some beginner tips? Let's get started. Tip 1. When you first spawn in, Kelvin is next to you. Revive him. He's injured, and he kind of serves as a dog's body and does jobs for you. You can hold the F down on him, use the W, A, S, D keys, cycle down, go to get, sticks, drop here, press D. He will then gather sticks and stones, which is very handy. He'll even gather logs. This is important because there is no log sled in this game, and he will help you gather stuff up and bring it back to a particular location. Tip 2. Remember, items will respawn every time you load back into the game. So there are particular locations where there are boxes or ledges where things are stashed, such as this rope here and this food. And every time you load back in, that reappears in those locations. There are some boxes over here. I know if I go back to them now, they will once again have loot in them. This means it's really handy if you build your base near some items that respawn in every time you start the game up. It just gives you that little extra boost. Tip 3. You can access your building menu by pressing B. Now, it gives you two modes. The first one you see is on the right hand side, and this tells you how to build things, where to place the logs. And you'll see when you try and place a log down, it gives you two options. You press the right mouse button, it cycles through either plonking it directly into the ground or laying it flat out. And by doing so, you open up possibilities. You can build platforms, you can build walls, rooftops, struts, and these become bases as you build up. I'll be doing a more comprehensive guide to building as the game develops. The second mode, which if you hold the X down it switches to the left hand side, gives you pre-built options. Things like cabins, and you can see it projects out a white frame that you can then place down, and it will then be something you can add logs to build. Tip 4. There are limited options for walls. You can do a barricaded wall such as this one here. Even then the cannibals will knock this down pretty easily. Not the low level ones, but anything bigger, mutants or the tall guy with the big club, he'll easily knock this down. It's pretty useless. Even more useless is the simple stick fence, whereas before in the forest this was quite effective. Now you can break these down really easily. You just have to jump on them and they will collapse. So bear it in mind. We've got to be more tactical with this particular iteration of the forest. We don't have stone walls as yet. I haven't heard any word of them being put in. Let's hope they will be. Tip 5. You can build doors. If you look across at my build over here, there is a door. It gives you the option to put that in when you're building that particular structure. But cannibals will just walk straight through those. They are pretty useless. So what I do is I build some jumping platforms. These ramps here serve perfectly well. The cannibals and mutants don't jump off these over your fence. I've seen some go up and they just sort of fall off the end. So the reason being, I can just jump over the fence and I'm into safety, well, relative safety, until they break down this rather useless fortified wall. But it does give you a bit of a head start, so I like to use these particular platforms, and it also stops the cannibals from just wandering around in your base. So considering the walls are pretty useless, building your base out onto the water is a good option. It's safer. The cannibals will not enter these zones, but it does pose problems. The minute you go into deep water, you drop everything that you're carrying, and currently it doesn't seem as if you can build platforms much further out than what you can see here, this shallow water. So that is also limited, but the cannibals will not come this far, so it's definitely safer to build your base slightly out onto water. Tip 7. The rope gun. It is a game changer. It allows you to fire zip lines. So you have to have 2 points, you shoot it into a tree, and then back down to your base, and you can travel at great speed over great distances. It is a bit limited on the range, I think a bit less than the last game, but this is about the max you can do this distance here between my base and this tree, and it really is a game changer. Make that a priority. Get the rope gun. I put a map on the screen here to show you whereabouts it is. When you do, get out. It's a difficult cave to get through, that one, but it's so worth it. Tip 8. One of the best plants in game to identify and find is yarrow. It's this white flower. It looks like cow parsley, and the reason why it's so good is if you eat it, you'll see, it gives you a lot of thirst and some food. They tend to grow in these large patches. They are incredible, and pretty quickly all my thirst is filled up again and my hunger is close behind. Really good. You see how much of it is there is here? You can then also gather it. Just click the F over it. It'll gather it, and you can carry 20 in your inventory. Keep an eye out for this. Once you've pinpointed where yarrow grows, you'll be back there time and time again. Tip 9. Another reason why zip lines are so good is you can put logs down them. What that does is it takes it all the way down the line to the end where you've attached it. For example, I'm getting logs into this base here by sending the logs down this zip line. And they end up here. You can just pick them up there and then use them in your base. It's so efficient. Because the zip lines can go quite a way, you can see if you look up on this particular area, if you look up, let me go around again, you can see that I've cleared big areas of the forest up there. It would have taken me ages to carry that all back to the base along the beachfront here. Tip 10. If you go to your building book, your manual, click on the traps section down the bottom here, you can see there's the fly swatter trap. This is an awesome device. It replaces the happy birthday trap from the forest. It's narrower, so it doesn't cover as wide a space, but boy is it effective. You need 10 sticks, 3 stones and 1 rope to be able to build it. So it is a little bit expensive, not too bad. The nice thing about it is when they're sprung, you can see it's killed these little mutant babies here, you can just set them back down again without having to spend any sticks or anything, and they are there permanently. I haven't seen anybody destroy these, so they seem pretty permanent so far. What I do is I line them up along edges next to stones. This is the path where they come down and they hit these areas. I also put them in spaces like this or in front of walls. Cannibals run into here. I stand up on this point up here where this log is directly in front of me, and they come towards me and they hit these traps. These are just awesome. So whenever I've got rope, I'll just make more traps and I just lay them out all over the place, making this area incredibly deadly. Tip 11. The bow is vital. The obvious reason is because you can get headshots with cannibals and it kills them instantly. Some cannibals wear helmets to protect them, and mutants obviously take more to kill. You can make the arrows from sticks, feathers and small stones. The small stones you've got to keep an eye out for because you can sometimes find you're short on those. You can pick up the better arrows, the carbon fibre arrows from these green cases, and you do ultimately get a crossbow. Here's another green case, and crossbow bolts, I don't need any more of those. But if you look down, this is something people don't realise, if you look down you'll see an R appear and it changes to your carbon fibre arrows, and these are much more effective. They fly more swiftly, which is something you have to get used to. The arc of the crappy arrows and these better arrows, it is different. So practice with this bow, it's really important. Tip 12. Sometimes when you try and place a log, grab a log here, it shows you where you can ping the log to, but then you may find you can't build in certain areas. Now there'll be two reasons for this. Sometimes the angle at which the log is placed, as you can see here with this particular ramp, means that the levels of the logs don't match. So you can see here this red arrow pops up. That's because the land isn't quite level, and when it's just out like that, there's nothing you can do about it. Also, if you can't build it, maybe because that particular item is damaged. So build yourself a repair hammer. You can see in here this particular one, it doesn't take much, and then you can just give it a tap, and it will fix it, and then you can place the log. So there are usually two reasons why you can't build in a space. Either the angle is wrong, which happens quite a bit, or the item is damaged. Tip 13. As you're cutting down trees and carrying them, you're getting stronger. There is a little arm with a muscly bicep at the bottom right hand of the screen. That's got a red line around it. When that is complete, you pass another strength level, and you become stronger, and you're able to cut down trees more quickly. Also, people don't realise that it also increases the amount of health you have just by a little bit. Tip 14. There are a whole range of creepy mutants in game. You can see this one here. Some of them aren't affected by the traps, but all of them will be affected by these spears that you have created. You put a stick down, you get the axe. You can see there that mutant's getting stuck on that. He's having a right old time. And then you place some stones, 3 stones at the base of the stick. Now he's pretty gruesome, isn't he? There you go. So these spear fences, you put the stick in, use the axe here, and it gives you the option to chop it forward. And it goes forward, it sharpens, and then you reinforce it with stones. They are a good defense against a lot of creatures. Tip 15. Don't forget to armor up. When a mutant dies, you can use the knife. Gives you this option, hold down the F, and you can take off some of the mutant skin, rubbery tough skin that you can use as armor. If you go into your inventory, and this is a bit weird, but you have to roll to the right a little bit with your mouse, you can see it down here. Creepy armor. When you wear it on your main map area with the health bar and the stamina bar around it, you get these bright pink pips go up the left hand side. That indicates you have armor on, which is particularly useful. Now when you're fighting lots of mutants, make sure you cut the armor off them if you get the opportunity, wear it, and then carry on your fight if you get a chance. Try not to pass up the armor, it's very useful. You can take a full whack and one pip will go and it will deflect a lot of damage. Tip 16. Don't forget, when you log off the game, to make sure that you store your logs before you leave. If you don't do this, they will be gone when you return. They despawn. Now, you can store logs simply by placing them in the ground like this. It gives them permanence. They'll be there when you come back. And then to grab the log, all you have to do is go up to it, and although it doesn't indicate so, if you hold the C down, it begins to wobble, and then you can grab it back up again. But make sure you store your logs, otherwise all that chopping that you do will be wasted and your logs will despawn. Tip 17. Logs are more versatile in this version of the forest. Firstly, you can go up to it, and if you go long ways, you can split it in half. like so, and that creates planks. Now you can carry 4 planks at a time, but it's not just that. You can also, if we place this log down over here, you can cut these logs in half. The red line will appear. You can cut them into quarters, like so. And part of the reason for this is you can create low-level platforms, which you can then expand out by creating a square. There are lots of squares in this game that you then put planks upon, and these will ping to a particular location as well. You will see a circle will appear. You see this circle has pinged to this particular structure, and you can place that down there like that, and you know you've got an exact width. That's the whole building system depends on that particular shape, the square. Tip 18. There are a couple of things worth knowing about Kelvin. Firstly, he's not affected by traps, so you don't need to worry about him in front of these. He will just wander over them and they seem to completely ignore him. Secondly, he can be a bit annoying sometimes. You need to reset him sometimes when you load back in. He may not be doing his tasks. He'll also cut down the tree that your zip line is attached to, which is particularly annoying if you set him to gather logs and bring them over here. Don't set him to collect logs if your zip line is nearby. He will also collect logs that you've put down in a particular location and bring them back to another location. You just have to be on the ball and manage what he's doing. He looks so happy as well. Tip 19. Sometimes when you kill a mutant or a beast, it will drop a skin pouch. Now, I don't think these creatures do so much, but the big beefy guys who smash down your fences, and some of the other ones, they will drop skin pouches. When they do, they look like this skin pouch. Yes, you can see what they're made of. And you can put them into your inventory. They would just be lying next to the body, and you may not even know that they exist, but they do. Pick them up inside. If you open them, you'll find that they will have a range of items. This is a new addition for the game. Tip 20. Now, when you build bridges like this, for example, or some of the structures like the houses, what you might not realise is you can take down some of the building structure that you put up in the first place, but yet still keep the rest of the structure. If you go up to it and you hold the C down, it will indicate to you what can be taken. Now that top plank can be taken. That second plank can be taken. Just put them there for the minute. And you can gradually take down the whole structure. And the amazing thing is, it doesn't affect the actual build. So you can take those down, because you have to build a wall in the first instance to be able to lay down this bridge or build part of a wall. But you can take different bits down and make it minimal, reuse some of the logs. It's a really handy tool within game. The way the logs are placed and then taken out and reused and changed and reshaped is a great addition to this game. And we have a bonus tip. You can throw logs at the enemy. Ugh. I don't know how much damage it does to them, but I just noticed it. It's quite fun to do. Throw logs at the cannibals. It also works on things like fish and animals, so logs do damage. So guys, there's my first 20 beginners tips for Sons of the Forest. I hope you find those useful. There are many more tips coming. this is just the first video. I love this game, I loved the forest, and I've been very impressed with what I've seen of the Sons of the Forest so far. So guys, if you haven't subbed already, it'd be awesome if you could. If you like the video, click the thumbs up, and I will be seeing you very soon. Thanks again.